Mine is.
Unable to go live.
Did it?
Unable to.
Hello, everybody. How's it going out there? We are here trying to get live and trying to get situated, our tech situated here.
Yeah.
John and I are reporting to you from the Philippines. We're very, very excited to be here. And we have a live audience. First ever time. We're very excited. We're trying to get live on TikTok for those of you who have followed our live over the years. We started adding our friends on TikTok, and let me just see.
Yeah,
Let me just make a quick adjustment here. It's in the settings.
I think so.
Yep. Okay, we've got 6 people here on the live stream.
So we're working for that. Let me just get started.
Do you want to
Yeah, we'll use the microphone. My name is John Gardner, and this is my wife and law partner, Radla Mendoza, and we are the law firm Gardner and Mendoza. We are an immigration law firm. We're located in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which is on the east coast of the United States. And every Wednesday night, it's Thursday morning here in the Philippines, in Cagayan de Oro, which is where we are today. But we come to you every Wednesday night with our immigration updates and other legal updates. And most importantly, we like to answer your questions. We know that you all have immigration questions, and we have answers, which is a great thing. I do want to warn you that and caution you that what we do here is for informational and educational purposes only. It is technically not legal advice. All right. And we also, hopefully in a minute here, we'll have our TikTok family with us, folks. And so as soon as we get them on, we'll welcome them as well.
All right, fantastic. Let's get this going. All right. We're getting ready to go live here, so.
Okay.
We're good.
There we have it. So we've got our TikTok folks with us as well. For those of you who are just joining us on TikTok, you missed the brief intro. My name is John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Radla Mendoza, and we are the law firm Gardner and Mendoza, and we're doing something really cool today. It's Wednesday night where we normally are at our office, but it's Thursday morning for us because we are in Cagayan de Oro in the Philippines with a live audience. So that's super cool.
All right.
Welcome.
Fantastic. And as you all heard, my husband and law partner's legal disclaimer that I'm going to just repeat that for the folks on TikTok. This is for informational and educational purposes only. Please, please, please do not take what we say today and take action based on what we say, because a lot of times we don't have the full facts of your case. So it would be very disadvantageous to you to go out and take what we say and take action on that. So before we begin, I just want to do a couple of thank yous. Of course, my parents, my mom especially, who helped set this up. And my parents live in the Philippines. My mom used to come back and forth a little bit more. So she doesn't come to the States as much. I'm super, super happy to be here to see my mom. And my dad, he's home a lot, but I still don't see him because he's busy all the time. I also want to thank Nanette, who helped organize this, as well as Anne and Chad's here, and Axel, who gave us a ride, who's Nanette's son. Thank you so much for picking us up from the airport. And our virtual assistant, Rhea, who has been with us, has it been almost a year and a half, or a year and a half? And she's been helping us with social media. She also helps with our live streams, so many things. So Rhea, thank you so much for being here. This is the first time meeting in person, and I don't know if I ever thought when we talked whether we would be able to meet in person ever, but here we are. She drove 5 hours to meet us and to help us today. So thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Let me just make sure that I'm not forgetting anybody. You want to do the last the thank you here?
Oh yeah. Lastly, I want to thank.
Did it go on?
Did we lose it again? Lost it again. That's all right. Yeah, our 3 daughters who are at home in the United States right now. I just saw Ray checked in. So our youngest is watching us on Facebook Live right now,
guys.
which is awesome. They were sweet to let us go. We've been gone for a while.
They let us come here.
That's right.
You know
that's
how
right.
it is with children.
So we started out with some business in Singapore, and then after that, we saw the Singapore Grand Prix, which was a race in Singapore. If you guys get a chance sometime, you should go to it. It was super cool. And now we're going to spend some time here in the Philippines and then head back home. So it's really great to be here. Really happy. Thanks, girls.
Yeah, and thank
for
you,
letting us
Katie,
escape a
for
while.
thank you, Katie, for watching our daughters while we're here and taking good care of them. All right. So, do you want to? Should we try to get this mic back on, or hello? No,
That's okay.
it must be timing out. Can you guys
Yeah.
can hear us okay? Okay, so everybody can hear us okay without the mic.
Yeah,
that's
we're
totally
fine.
fine. We're good with that. Really quickly, just a little bit about our law firm. John and I met in law school in 1996. We met, and he fell head over heels over me. Wanted to marry me as soon as he saw me. So we was it 95?
Yes, fall of 95. That's a true story. I
It's a
sat
true
in the
story.
last row. She sat in the first row. And then I slowly moved up. And by the end of the semester, I was also sitting in the first row.
Yes, we were in the first row
I was trying to
together.
get close to her.
So we started our law firm in 2000 after we got married in 1998. And so it's been 22 years. This is our 22nd anniversary of our law firm and our 24th wedding anniversary, which we recently celebrated early October 3rd. So we have been doing this for a very long time. I mean, it's this picture right here of us. That was taken 5 years ago. But we just have had a really great run with the immigration. We have a great team back at home, and we are really, really happy to just be able to help people become lawful permanent residents and U.S. citizens. It's really an area of law where we feel just a lot of gratitude, and it just feels good. It's like a feel good part of law where it's awesome. And not only do our clients bring us presents all the time. We eat very well at the law firm because our clients are international and they're constantly bringing us food. So we also have a wonderful team. You can talk a little bit about our team.
Yeah, this is a great, by the way, it's full circle especially for Radlin. She grew up in her parents' international grocery store. And so for her to become an immigration lawyer is really, really fitting. But yeah, we have a wonderful team. We have the two of us. We have 2 other immigration lawyers that have been with us for a while. We just added another one. So we have 5 immigration lawyers in our law firm total. And then we have 4 or 5 other in-house staff folks who do various things. And so it's not a huge team, but it's a really, really tight, good team, and they do fantastic work. And if they are joining us as well and tuning in, I want to just thank them. It's great that we're able to leave our office for large periods of time and know that everything is just absolutely working like clockwork. Part of it is, like Radlin said, I mean, we've been doing this for almost 23 years now. So we know what we're doing, and that helps. That helps quite a bit.
All right. So what are you guys here for? For questions, right?
Yeah.
Some of you may have some immigration questions.
How many of you came here to hear our history, our story, our love story? How many came to get some questions answered? Right. Okay.
We do. We are going to answer your questions, and so I think what we're going to do. Are you guys going up? Are they going up to the mic, or are we passing the mic? I think we should pass the mic if you guys don't mind.
So
that way,
too.
people can stay comfortable and not have to worry about it.
And just real quick, before we get the first question here, I just want, because we had our TikTok was delayed coming in, and some of the questions we're getting here. Yes, we are going to be answering questions tonight like we do every week. So if you're joining us on TikTok, just sit tight, get your questions in the queue, and we will get to them. I got to warn you, TikTok folks, normally we ask you to go to Facebook Live first because it's easier to see them. You're going to be 3rd on the list now because we have a live audience here in the Philippines. And so the live audience is going to have priority, then the Facebook questions, then TikTok. So, all right.
All right. Fantastic. So who wants to ask the first question? Oh, who's shy? You guys are shy. Oh no. Oh yes, sir. Who? Oh no. Okay, we'll answer a couple of questions that we're getting.
Yeah, we're getting some here.
Somebody asked on TikTok whether we do mandamus, and yes, we do. We do file writs of mandamus in order to force the government to act, and we file those types of cases when, say, your I-130 petition has been pending for too long, or your naturalization case has been pending too long. We go and we sue the government and force them to take action with that lawsuit. So yes, we do file mandamuses. Oh, we have a couple questions. Yes, sir. Do you have a mic?
Yeah, the mic is broken.
Mic is broken.
That's okay. We can hear you.
Start the first question if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Sure.
First is, are you still head over heels in love with your
Yes.
Absolutely.
We traveled all the way to Asia together on our anniversary. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. And the chances for immigration over, let's say, for tourists have changed pre-pandemic and post-pandemic? I know that the case for each applicant is different.
Yes.
But generally, have you changed? Have it quite tedious and more stringent right now, or maybe you would like to take a look at individual cases? But generally, what would be your perception?
Okay,
So
so
go ahead.
the question is whether there have been changes to a tourist situation, I guess specifically coming from the Philippines to the United States and back, and whether pre-pandemic and post-pandemic those have changed or not.
I believe the standards are the same. Still very difficult to get a tourist visa. But as you all know, the processing times in order to get an actual appointment is much, much longer than previously. So with regard to a tourist visa to the United States, one of the main things that they look for is your intent to return back to the Philippines, and what are your ties to the Philippines, right? Do you have a family? Do you have a good job? Do you have a business? Do you look like you have money in your account? All these factors, which the officer has to make a very quick decision. And I have heard that they make that decision when you're walking up to the counter. Somebody, a consular officer told. Now this is double hearsay. Told one of my colleagues that, and then reiterated that back to other attorneys and said they said that they make that decision when they come, when the applicant is walking up. So it's difficult because you have to make an impression very quickly. And so the things that we used to be able to provide, letters of invitation, your bank account statements, all these things that show your ties to the Philippines, they're not really accepting those things anymore. It specifically states on the website, please do not bring letters or any of those things. So we have really gotten out of the B1, B2, assisting clients in getting the B1, B2. Some in certain cases that we do, but it does not make anyone feel good when we write a letter of invitation for a client, an affidavit of support for our client, and then our client goes and tries to give these documents to the officer, and they say, we're not taking those. So we don't do too much of that anymore, but it is, I think the standards are the same, but the processing time is longer. You always have to be prepared. I mean, they've always been difficult. It's always been difficult.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to make a comment. It is no secret that many Rotarians are in this room.
Many what?
Rotarians. We are a member of a club, and our club is a member of Rotary International.
Oh, Rotary. Okay, yes, yes.
And last year it was in Houston. In fact, it was last June. But next year would be in Australia. But some other years, future years, it would be assumed that it would be go back to the United States. I don't know how it's going to be explained, but maybe I'm getting ahead of your updates. Is it really true that here's the situation? Many of our Rotarians applied for the US visa because of the invitation
Yes.
of the Rotary International Convention. And we hear of so many sad stories these past March, April, May, and June. because many of them were denied. And one horror story was there was one bishop, one applicant in the morning that the entire Rotarian delegate for the entire day were all swept down and denied of the application. And for Rotary, for us, a Rotary International Convention is a very a lifetime achievement for each Rotarian because especially that is a convention of all Rotarians around the world. So my question would be, is an invitation of a very large scale prominent organization an assurance of the application? And then number two, would it be imperative that we go through your service rather than to the service of the Rotary visa system, so-called Rotary visa system for that channel? And what would be the best route that we could take? Thank you very much.
Again, the fact that you have been invited by a prestigious organization is not a guarantee, of course, as you have seen, as you discussed about the horror stories, to get the visa. And with regard to using legal services or using an attorney, we're just not in that business right now with regard to helping because of how difficult it is to even get our documents considered by the consular officer. So, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, if you feel like I really want help with this or I need help with the application. A lot of times people say, hey, if I use an immigrant, if I use you as my attorney, and this is for all types of different cases, all types of different immigration cases. Is it going to be faster? Is there going to be a better result, a more positive result? And if I were being completely honest, in the B1, B2 system and applying for a visa, in all the other cases, I say yes. But in this particular case, it's difficult, again, because we cannot get our documents reviewed many of the times. So that is the answer.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for a great question.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there's not more detail that we can provide, but as Radlin said, it's often a gut decision, and it's all about that intent. So whatever you can do in the way you carry yourself to make that person believe that your intent really is to go and be a tourist and then come back, that's going to be what carries the day. Because again, they think that they're looking at everyone with skepticism, thinking, okay, this person is going to go to the U.S. as a tourist, and then once they get there, they're just going to stay and they're not going to return. That's what they're concerned about. So if you can convince them that's not the case, then you're going to be golden. All right. Okay.
Anyone else have a question? Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Good morning. They're going to pass the mic over to you
Yeah,
so we
ours
can
is
hear.
not working again, but that's
It's
okay.
working.
Is it?
I would like to ask, what are the required people for U.S. migration, and in case, what are the requirements for U.S. immigration? Migration.
Sure. So is the question, what are the requirements to immigrate to the United States?
Yeah. What are the bona fide people first, and then what are the requirements to migrate to the U.S.? Thank you.
Okay, that's a very broad, very broad question.
Yeah.
So if I'm understanding the question correctly, what are some of the ways that a person can immigrate to the United States? Is that correct? Yeah, okay, great. So some of the ways that you can immigrate to the United States are through generally two categories. And again, depending on where you're from, there could be more, but let's talk about, we're here in the Philippines, so let's talk about Filipinos immigrating to the United States. But so there are generally two categories. One is through family petition, right? Everybody knows about family petition, and there is often a misunderstanding about who can petition for whom. It's actually very limited. So if you must have a family member in the United States who is either a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident of the United States. And U.S. citizens can petition for their parents, their siblings, their spouses, and their children of any age, and whether they are married or not. So it's a much broader category, and you all know probably how long it can take in some of those categories for a U.S. citizen to petition, how many years, especially in the sibling category, that can take. And not just the sibling category, even if you're petitioning for an unmarried child over the age of 21 and you're a U.S. citizen, it takes a long time. So if you are a lawful permanent resident in the United States, then you can petition for your spouses and your unmarried children, only those two categories. So the unmarried children can be over or under the age of 21. It doesn't matter. So generally speaking, again, that is the family immigration route. And if you have no family members in the United States and you don't have that relationship that I just mentioned to those family members, then you're probably not going to be able to immigrate to the United States on that basis. And again, I'll go ahead and throw fiance out there too, because it used to be when John and I came to the Philippines and I was speaking on a panel a few years ago. We were fortunate enough to take a tour of the U.S. Embassy in Manila, which was amazing. It's huge. It's massive. If you've never been there, it's so big. But back then, anyway, a few years ago, the Philippines was the U.S. Embassy in Manila was the #1 post in processing fiancé visas. So that's also, I'll go ahead and put that in there as a family category. Because you eventually will turn into a spouse, right, at some point in time in the future. So the other way that you can immigrate to the United States is through employment and investment. And those are generally the categories. So if you are a nurse, for example, and you have an agency or a hospital that is able to petition for you, then you can immigrate that way. And typically that is going to be an immigrant visa. It's a process that leads to lawful permanent residency. And so if you come here, and we do nurse cases, of course, and as well as other types of petitions, if you come here and to the United States and you come on you're a nurse and you come on, and again, that's not the only category. That's just the most common one. And if you're a teacher, for example, you can also immigrate here. There's the H-1B visa. There are many other employment avenues, not just for nurses. That's just one that we do routinely. But if you come here and you're married, your children and your spouse under 21 can also immigrate with you to the United States. And I mentioned with teachers, there are a lot of teachers in the United States on the H-1B visa, which is for workers who have specialized knowledge and have at least the equivalent to a U.S. bachelor's degree. And then I mentioned also the investment. So the E-2 visa, I've had Filipino clients come in on the E-2 visa where you open a new business or you invest in a business and you have at least 51% ownership and you make a substantial investment in that business. And that's another way. So the E-2 visa is not one that leads to lawful permanent residency in the United States. It's one, however, that you can keep renewing until you have, so long as you have that business and that investment. So I had an E-2 client, she came in and the business was a Filipino restaurant and store, and she came in on the E-2. And she was on that E-2 for, I think, 14 years. And then her daughter became a naturalized U.S. citizen. Her daughter got married to a U.S. citizen and then became a naturalized U.S. citizen, and then petitioned for her mom, who had been on the E-2 visa. So those are generally the ways. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
Yeah. If a foreigner can buy a property in America? A foreigner like Filipino?
A foreigner, yeah, that's going a little bit outside of our scope. But I know of foreigners who have purchased property in the United States. The manner in which they did it, I'm not exactly sure. And also the financing can,
Yeah,
depending on, your status, can be a little tricky. Now, if you have cash.
that's what I was going to say as
If you're
well.
a cash buyer,
If you're a cash buyer, it's going to be an easier.
Yeah,
Right.
because in the Philippines, foreigners can hardly own a property. Or that's why I'm asking if Filipinos can buy properties in America. So, you said yes.
yes, so generally speaking, yes, I would definitely talk to a tax advisor as well as a real estate advisor with that. But we have clients who are foreign nationals who purchase property, but it's difficult to get financing. If you're a cash buyer, then sure, we'll take your money.
And that a purchase of property, can we use that or that, is the government recognize that as an investment for us to apply for migration?
So the question is, does the one piece of property qualify as an investment for the purposes of E2? And the answer is probably not with one property. So if you're renting it out, it's probably not going to rise to that level of substantial investment
Really,
for the
actual
E2.
Business.
Right,
Actual business can qualify for.
yes. Great questions. So really quickly, we're gonna just, I'm gonna just go into our feed here. I wanna say hi to my cousin who's watching. Auntie Emma is watching. My cousin just celebrated her, I think it was her 60th birthday, right, cuz? No, it was her 51st or something like
Yeah.
that.
Hey, Malou, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Blue. Say hi to all the people who are joining us from Facebook Live, and also, of course, our friends on TikTok. And I know you guys are like, please answer my question. We have some really awesome questions for our live audience who we are giving priority today.
That's right.
Now, you guys have us every Wednesday night, all the other times, but here we are with this beautiful live audience. So thank you for your patience. We may not get to your questions today, but we will definitely try.
And we do want to thank you for joining us on Facebook and on TikTok. As you know, we have clients all over the United States. We have clients all over the world. So wherever you are, we can help you out. You can contact us, and maybe we can get our contact
Information.
banner.
Let me do
posted
it. Let me
here.
do it. I'm working the banner today.
I'm teasing Rhea because we have her computer, so she can't get her banner going right now.
There's our banner. How about some contact information? So for guys on TikTok, you can't see the banner, but if you want to call us and schedule an appointment, we would love to talk to you. Our office number in the U.S. is 757-464-9224, or you can send us an email to info@gmlaw.net. If you are on Messenger, you can find us on Facebook at Gardner Mendoza Law, and Rhea is answering the questions on Messenger. I know she's doing a great job, but if something slips up, let us know. Just kidding, Rhea. All right, so let's take the next question.
Yeah.
Yes. Good morning.
This is the situation. A J1
Yes.
married to a tourist.
A J1 married a tourist.
Married to a tourist. So.
Okay.
And then
Should have married someone else. I'm just kidding.
Unfortunately, the tourist, the visa expired because he wasn't able to come home because of the pandemic.
Okay.
So how can you? What is your advice to them? Because the wife wanted to sponsor him in the future by bringing back the U.S.
Okay, let me repeat the question really quickly, just for our rest of our audience here. So we have somebody in the United States on a J1 visa, and while they're on the J1 visa, they marry somebody who's in the United States on a tourist visa. Is that correct? Okay. And then you're asking where do they go from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the B1, B2 visa holder from my understanding of the question, their stay expired and they did not renew that. When was it because of the pandemic?
Yeah,
Was that a long time ago or
yeah, during the pandemic.
during the pandemic? It expired and they didn't do anything to do that. That's tough. That's going to be tough because during the pandemic, if you could not go home, and many people could not, then you were required to file an extension of your stay using the form for those of you in the U.S. and or for future information. It's the I-539 to file the I-539 extension of your status. It's also a form used to change your status if you want to change to a different status. So if the problem is once you are out of status, it's extremely difficult to really dig yourself out of that hole, in the sense that if the expired tourist visa holder filed now an I-539 to change their status to a J2, right, the spouse of J1, they're going to deny that, most likely. Right. So I had this situation very recently, and and it was a little bit different, but the person, the potential client, she kept saying, I just want to file. I want to file. Like, it's 2 years late. And I said, I'm not filing that for you. Because I'm an immigration lawyer. I know better, right? And I'm not going to take your money. I'm not going to file it. No, because it is most likely going to get denied. And it was more of this is going to make me feel better about my situation, because at least I know that I've tried everything. But, again, we're going by what the facts are that you're telling us. And I'm sure the facts that you are telling us are accurate. But sometimes there could be a little nuance there, and we would have to, take a look at the case and just to make sure, again, and for those of you who are watching, and for those of you who are here, just to let you know, we charge $275 for a consultation, and it's a virtual consultation. It's up to an hour. And a lot of times when you have a consultation with us, after the consultation, there are follow-up questions. We also answer your follow-up questions for up to 30 days after the consultation. And so I would highly recommend that they make a consultation and talk to one of our immigration attorneys. There are 5 of us. So just to be sure, for peace of mind, right? So what I'm telling you is probably not, most likely not. And you can go back and say, oh, probably not. But what if there's something missing? What if there's a fact that, excuse me, that you don't know about, or something that they might let us know about, where there could be an opening where we could do something. So, excuse me, sorry about that. That would be my recommendation. And for all of you who are appearing live and on our TikTok and our live stream, and for all of you here, we are offering $100 off of our consultation just because you guys are here. So that'll be $175 if you want to. And Rhea can help you with that. Yeah. She can sign you up for any of your family members. And if you're here, and if you guys are here today, what should we just put CDO in the comments? Or if you want to reach out to us, CDO is the code, and we will give you that $100 off of our consultation. Now, let me just really quickly say this, because I'm Filipino, y'all are Filipino, many of the people here are Filipino, and if you're not Filipino, you're possibly from another country, not the United States. And we like to do stuff on our own, don't we? Yes? We like to try things. We think we can do it because we want to save money, right? A lot of times that is the reason why we want to do it ourselves. My example, I've tried so many things on my own where I really should not have done that. The prime example is building our website like 17 years ago. Now, if some professional had built the website, I'd probably be retired by now, honestly. But, we like to try things on our own. So please don't let the consultation fee scare you away. And I'm now starting to equate the fee that we charge in terms of money that you save in the future. And Rhea knows, Rhea has translated for me. Rhea reads the comments. Rhea, answers the inquiries. She knows. When I have 5, and it makes me really upset to think about this. When I have 5 to 7 consultations and the case was not done properly, and they're Filipino, right? Because we want to save money, okay? So you want to file your I-130 petition. When I see those cases back to back to back consultations, and it's 10 years. You lost 10 years of having your child here, okay? Or whatever the situation is, very similar. And then I say, okay, let's put it this way. Let's say your kid could make $25,000 a year in the Philippines had you done it properly. Had you just done it properly. What is $25,000 times 10? Is that $250,000? Yeah. So if I charged you $15,000, I'm not going to charge you $15,000 to the case. Just an example, it would have been well worth it. Well worth even the consultation, just to know the simple things, right? That we know that you don't necessarily know. Another thing that we do is people think they have to become a U.S. citizen before they petition for their spouse, right? There's just so much information that a lot of people don't know, just like taxes or, the things that we do that don't do, and we let professionals handle it. So please don't be afraid of the consultation fee. John can say more about this because he's there and he sees it, and it's just sad, and again, not all the cases, of course, are going to end up like this. But many do, and many are cases that we self-file because we want to save $275 for a consultation fee. Not just that, though, it's even the legal fee. If just please have someone look at it. If it's not us, have someone else look at it and do it because it's not worth it. So multiply the number of years you could be losing by the salary, if that's how you want to look at it, of your loved one. But it's more also about just having of course, being with your family, right? So good question. Have them reach out to us.
Yep.
That was my lecture of today.
That's it's a good one. And
I think it's on.
So for those of you who are just joining us on Facebook, again, I'm John Gardner, and this is Radlin Mendoza. We are the law firm
Hey, guys.
Gardner and Mendoza. We're an immigration law firm, and we are doing our live stream, which we do every week. And we're coming to you live today from Cagayan de Oro in the Philippines, where we have a live audience, and we're taking their questions. So we apologize if you're posting your questions and we're not getting to them. We really want to give priority to the local folks who came out here to see us today. All right, who's next? Oh, right here.
Chaz, can you check this mic for me?
She's there.
Is it on?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My doctor is already a USRN. Just in time for the pandemic, the pandemic evolved. She was processing her paper. She's processing for a visa, immigrant visa. She has already an employer. So it was halted, the process was halted because of the pandemic. Early on this year, she was asked to continue her processing her documents. But because she was able to find a job during pandemic and until this time, a sort of BPO, which is catering doctors in America. So the papers, her documents are somewhat delayed, and she just went to her school for the papers she's also renewing her, I think this year, this October, she needs to renew her license in New York. Um, my question is, should she be able to, granting she was already there and few years ahead, she will be a citizen or something, and she can petition us. Is in any can in that case, your services will be for her to petition us, like it's her sister also, she's
Okay.
27. So can she petition us both and then she could use your services or any other lawyer's office? Thank you.
Question is whether a U.S. citizen daughter can petition their parents and whether we can help you with that. Answer is absolutely yes. And so how that would work,
Can she
It-
also petition a sister who is beyond 20 or 27?
yes. And so the fourth preference category covers siblings. And so as a U.S. citizen, you can petition for your sibling. However, we'd have to take a look at the visa bulletin when the time comes. So when you and your husband become lawful permanent residents of the United States, it is most likely going to be more advantageous time-wise for you to petition for your single daughter over the age of 21. However, one of the problems is that you would have to remain single. And you are in your prime years, right?
What if she's married along the way?
Yeah. Really, really great question. So this is a great fact pattern. Great question. And again, just want to mention again the legal disclaimer. This is for informational and entertainment purposes only. But so the question is, what if, as a lawful permanent resident, I petition for my daughter, and you guys know already that lawful permanent residents can petition for only unmarried children. So if your daughter gets married if you get married along the way, daughter is here, she's gonna get married, no, I'm just kidding. If your daughter gets married along the way, then you cannot use that petition any longer because you're now outside of this category. You're now the married daughter of a lawful permanent resident, and lawful permanent residents cannot petition for married children. So in a perfect world, with all the money in the world, once you immigrate to the your daughter should file for her sister, right? And then when you become a lawful permanent resident, you should also file for your daughter if you have money to spend. Or even if you don't have money to spend. We always spend money on things that, just a little caveat about that though. Do you have a tourist visa? No, okay. For those with multiple entry tourist visas, you have your 10-year multiple entry tourist visa. If you have a petition filed for you, you may or may not be able to come back in on that tourist visa if they think that you are an intending immigrant. So just be a little bit careful with that. I talk to people for an hour about that and analyze their situation. So, oh, the food is here. Should we take a break? We can answer some questions from our live stream if you guys want to. Oh, I think they're serving you, so you don't even have to get up.
Yeah, no, we'll keep taking questions here. I did want to say hello to one person on our live stream here. She says hello that she's from Cagayan de Oro, but now she's in Chicago on a J1 visa. That's
All
pretty
right.
cool.
That's awesome.
Okay, we also had a question in here about what needs to be filed for citizenship. Did you want to tackle that real quick?
Sure. Okay, so one of the questions on our live stream is, what do you have to file to become a U.S. citizen? and that application is called the N400, the application for naturalization. So the N400, and with regard to supporting documents for the N400, if you are doing it based on being married and living with a U.S. citizen spouse, you have to show that proof for the last 3 years that you've been married to and living with, include your lawful permanent resident card. And let's see, what else? Pretty much those are the basics. And my mic has gone out again.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
you guys you can hear me. You can hear me anyway.
yeah, they're fine. We can skip the mic. That's okay. Okay. Who's next? Who has a question? Pass the mic. Okay. Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, maybe
Hi, good morning, everyone.
That's oh, you just gotta hit it. Okay, we know. Oh shoot.
I actually have a question.
Okay.
I actually don't have any idea yet on how the immigration goes. So I'm a registered nurse, and then, but I didn't practice my profession, so I'm planning to pursue my profession, my career. So I'm just taking the steps for becoming a USRN, and then find an employer soon. Then my question is, I'm actually married, and then how long, if ever I can find an employer in the US, how long can I petition my family with me, if ever?
Good one.
Great question. The question is, when I immigrate to the United States as a registered nurse, how long will it take for me to bring my family to the United States? So fortunately, your family, your spouse will be a derivative beneficiary, and he will be able to go with you to your interview and also receive an immigrant visa at the same time. So a lot of times, for whatever reason, for a various number of reasons, people will leave their spouse back in the Philippines because you want to come to the United States, you want to get settled, you want to get your living arrangements straightened out. Maybe your spouse has a job still in the Philippines. I would just say have the spouse immigrate at the same time. And if they want to go back after they enter the United States on an immigrant visa and they're already a lawful permanent resident, have them go back and take care of business. But just do that, okay? and the reason is because sometimes it takes longer for them to get their interview, and it just causes a lot of stress in the family and the relationship. And we've seen it a lot of times. It's very stressful when the spouse is not able, there's a follow to join situation, and then the follow to join is taking a lot longer than anticipated. So please just have your spouse and your children immigrate with you. It will be okay. You're going to be a registered nurse. You're going to be making lots of money. Don't worry about it. You got it.
Yeah, and this is another classic example where it's so important to consult with a professional. If it's not us, that's fine. If you have some immigration lawyer that you know that you want to use, but make sure you talk to somebody, because immigration is a journey, and if you start down the wrong road from the very beginning, it's really hard. You have to backtrack, and you lose a lot of time, you lose a lot of money. Sometimes you make fatal errors, and the case can't be fixed. We have a lot of clients who are self-filers, who things went wrong, and now we're in the process of fixing their cases. So it is absolutely you are worth the consultation fee that some immigration lawyer, whether it's us or any immigration lawyer, is going to charge. So make sure you do it. Just do it right, so you only have to do it once, okay?
I'm going to grab this question from PRA Mian. Applied for I-129 FK1 fiancé visa and received a notice that application was received on June 3rd, 2022. Nothing after that. It's been 4 months. What should I do? PRA, you should have definitely received a receipt notice by now. If you're asking, gosh, it's been 4 months and I still don't have an approval, it is taking 14 months for a fiancé visa petition to be approved by the California Service Center right now. So just a quick, let's grab a question off of TikTok if you guys don't mind. We have a great TikTok following. Had a lot of fun doing those videos over the past year and a half. And for those of you who don't follow our TikTok, it's Immigration Lawyer One is our TikTok account, and you should definitely follow it for a lot of free information. I know you like free.
Okay, and this is kind of funny. We've got people on TikTok checking in from Virginia Beach. Usually when we're in Virginia Beach, we have people checking in from other places. But
Awesome.
okay, here's a question. Hi, I applied for my wife's on the I-130. Should I apply for the I-485 as well? We just got married this year.
Now, this is a great question. Just a great example of this question. I have no idea, right? I don't know whether they should file for the I-485 because I don't know whether the spouse is in the United States or not. If the spouse is not in the United States, the I-485 would not be the correct application. Now, sometimes we see this case where the spouse is outside of the United States and the U.S. citizen will file the I-130 and the I-485 together, and they have just lost money, right? They've just lost $1,225 for the filing fee for the I-485 because it's going to get rejected. So that is an example of we don't know enough information. Is she eligible for I-485? How did she enter the United States? Did she enter without inspection? There's so many things. So that's why we'd always say this is not legal advice.
Yep.
Look at that. That's a Filipino trick if I've ever seen one, right?
Yeah.
The Filipino hack. It's like duct tape. All right, so who has the next question? No questions? Okay. Don't worry. There's a lot of questions here.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead? We've got some.
All right, let's see here. Let me go to the beginning of this here. Okay, Gemini, to continue her question about what do I need to file for U.S. citizenship, I don't need my birth certificate, but only my marriage and divorce certificate. You typically do not need your birth certificate when you are applying for U.S. citizenship. Gemini says, today is my 39th birthday. Should we sing her happy birthday? All right, let's see here. Janice is great day attorney. Is it possible that a J1 visa holder who's required 2 years residency rule who overstayed can get a green card? If yes, can the employer sponsor them? Thank you so much. So we'd need to know more information on that, Jana. Ray says hello. That's our daughter. Our daughter is, we have 3 daughters, ages 19, 16, and 11. And right now the 11-year-old loves us more than the other 2, the teenagers. But we love all of them equally, for sure. All right. Oh, Gemini's the one with the 2 birth certificates. Okay. Let's see here. Do you want to take a look over there?
Yeah, sure. There's a question here. Can I travel to the Philippines if I have travel parole?
Yes, you can travel to the Philippines if you have advanced parole. Make sure the advanced parole is not expired. Just take a look at it. But generally, that is what it is for. All right. Adalia says, hello, attorney. I just want to ask how long I can wait to expedite my K1 visa. Uh-oh. My husband has a medical emergency. He stayed at the U.S. hospital for 2 months, but he's already discharged. Also this last Saturday, God bless to both. Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, there we go. So in short, the question is, can I expedite my K1 visa? That's going to be extremely difficult to do. You can absolutely try. I'm so sorry to hear about your husband. I hope he's better. 2 months in the hospital is a really long time. So, but you can try. It's not likely though. Good question over there.
Yes. Can a conditional green card holder travel outside the United States? Derry wants to know if you know.
We do know. Conditional permanent residents can travel outside of the United States. If you are in the process of applying for removal of the conditions, you would have to travel outside the United States with your I-751 receipt. If that does not apply to you, yes, you can go out on your green card. So long as it's, again, still current. Okay, Shelia has a good question about processing times. How many years to process the spouse visa? Okay. How many years does it take to process the spouse visa? So the spouse visa can take a couple of years depending on the service center that it goes to. Do you want to go over processing times? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that. U.S. citizen filing for a parent, spouse, unmarried child under 21 years of age. California Service Center right now is 10.5 months. The Nebraska Service Center is 10.5 months. The Potomac Service Center is 12 months. The Texas Service Center is 11.5 months. And the Vermont Service Center is 16 months. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and knock these out real quick too while we're here. Lawful permanent resident filing for the only family members they can file for, which are a spouse and unmarried children, no matter what the age. California Service Center is 25.5 months. The Nebraska Service Center is 10.5 months. The Potomac Service Center is 29 months. The Texas Service Center is 20 months. And the Vermont Service Center is 30 months. And did you want to ask the question that's always gets asked by somebody?
What's that question?
About these, about where they go, how you know which service center.
Oh, gotcha. So one of the frequently asked questions that we hello. One of the frequently asked questions that we get is some of these service centers are taking longer than the others when you file your I-130 petition. And can you pick which one it goes to? And the answer is no. It is randomly chosen with regard to the workload of the service center. So you could actually, your case could go to the Vermont Service Center, which is, taking the longest time to process these cases.
Yes, 6 months more than, say, Nebraska.
Right.
It's just luck.
Does anyone else in the audience have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Who is eligible for a US visa Dropbox? If one, like here, my husband has already a B1B2 visa, then my minor kids can Dropbox their application.
I do not know the answer to that question, just because I apologize. We can get you that answer, but I personally do not know the answer who's eligible for Dropbox, again, just because tourist visas are not something that we routinely engage with. Does anyone know? Dropbox? No? Rhea? All right. Christine says that we are having a problem in Singapore applying for tourist visa, especially if you're not with your employer. Yes, it is difficult to again, generally speaking, hard to get a tourist visa, especially if you are single, right? Tough to get a tourist visa. All right.
Okay, while you're
Yeah.
reading that question, I would just briefly, one of the questions that we get a lot of on TikTok involves immigration reform and the status in the United States. I'm sorry to say that right now, there's really no prospect of any immigration. Sorry, that's just not really working out.
Yeah.
Right now, there's no prospect for any major immigration reform or change of law in the United States. It's just a topic that is very, very toxic for all politicians on both sides. And so we were hopeful a couple of years ago that we might have some changes coming, but once again, there are none. And we have elections coming up in November, and until we have a new Congress and quite frankly, another presidential election, there probably won't be any movement on immigration reform in the United States. So we're probably at least 2 years out from any possible changes taking place.
All right.
Are there any other questions out here?
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're an hour.
Yep.
All the other questions we're getting are about the K1. Should I get a K1 or should we just, go to
Yeah.
US and then get married?
So,
Those are all of them.
yeah. So one of the sorry guys, one of the questions that we get often are, and this may not pertain to you all, but one of the questions that we get is, should I apply for the K1 visa, which is the fiance visa, or should I just go and get married to my spouse, right? And a lot of times that question is fact sensitive. It depends on the goal, right? The goal of the couple. We always assume that the couple wants to be together as soon as possible. And with the K1 pre-pandemic, I would have recommended the K1. The K1 right now is taking 14 months just for the petition, just for USCIS, United States Immigration Services to Immigration Citizenship Services to approve that I-130 petition, 14 months. Then it goes to the National Visa Center. That's a couple more months tacked on. Then we have to wait for visa availability for the interview, not visa availability, sorry, waiting for the interview. So that's kind of a crapshoot. We don't really know. I don't often recommend the fiance visa anymore if the couple can get married right away. Like, so one thing you should do before you do anything, like if your spouse is visiting, if your significant other is visiting you in the United States on a tourist visa, you should definitely talk to an immigration lawyer before that significant other goes home, because there may be an option for them to adjust their status and become a lawful permanent resident without having to be separated, depending on the circumstances and the facts. So sometimes people will do a virtual Zoom. Well, all of our consultations are virtual now, but they'll do a virtual Zoom and they'll be abroad, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, my fiance just left the United States. And I had to travel all the way to the Middle East to come visit with her again." I'm like, what's your goal? The goal is for us to be together as soon as possible. You made a big mistake by going back, because we could have taken care of that and gotten a green card while the person was here in the United States. So you just have to be really careful with those types of facts. All right. Oh, and Aunt Sue says hello. Hello, Aunt Sue.
Hi, Sue.
Thank you very much.
That's my aunt. She's wishing us safe travels
Yes.
back to Virginia. Thanks, Sue.
Our group here is, our live audience here is taking a break from questions. They're eating. Hopefully the food is good. We have a lot of questions. Any more on TikTok, or are they just general?
They're the K1 questions.
Okay, so the fiance visa, back to that. Sorry, I got distracted. One of the big disadvantages, in my opinion, of the fiance visa is that once you get to the United States, you cannot work. You cannot travel. Probably for about 6 to 8 months. And that's a big problem for a lot of my clients. I've seen a lot of couples get stressed out about that. Let's just put it that way. That, sometimes the scenario is we have a military service member, right? And they do the fiance visa. And then the fiance comes to the United States. You have to get married within the first 90 days and then file your green card application. And then the U.S. military service member will then go on a deployment or some type of military thing where they have to be gone for 3-6 months at a time. And then you just left your fiance/spouse in, let's say, Virginia Beach, Virginia, where they don't really know anyone, they can't drive, they can't work, and they're used to being in Quezon City, right? Where you have a very vibrant life, there's a restaurant on every corner, there are taxis, there's places to go. And in Virginia Beach, there's no public transportation, and it's very isolating. It's very, it's very tough on the fiance. So when people say, "Hey, should I do the fiance visa or should I do the marriage immigrant visa?" It all depends on the situation. If you just went to the Philippines, okay, say you're a U.S. citizen, you just went to the Philippines and you saw your fiance, okay, you didn't get married, you just visited with your fiance, and you come back to the United States, and you're not planning on going back to the Philippines for another 8 months, then you probably should file the fiance visa. But remember, your fiance can't work for 6 to 8 months. And again, I like to put it in terms of money and stress and how that spouse is going to feel when you're going to work every single day and leaving her for 12 to 14 hours a day because you're at work. What is she going to do? Or what is he going to do? So that's the consideration there. All right. I'm going to make sure we're covering all the notes here that we made. Is everybody familiar with the visa bulletin? Okay, well, I'll do a quick, just for those who are watching and those who are here. Basically, the visa bulletin comes out every month. It's put out by the State Department, and it shows the number of worldwide visas that are available per country. And the Philippines, in there are family categories and employment categories. With regard to family categories, the Philippines is usually one of the slowest because there are so many people applying for their family and petitioning for the family. So, for example, if you petition for your sibling, it can take 20 years. And one of the things we talk about is not waiting to file for your sibling, because 20 years does actually somehow come. I never thought I would be 50, but here I am. I was 30 20 years ago, and now I'm 50. 20 years passed, right? It just passed, and I didn't have to do anything. I just had to wake up every morning, and here it is. So recently I had a friend who she was a client. She turned into a friend, and when she became a U.S. citizen about 7 years ago, I said, make sure you file for your sister. And she's not from the Philippines. She's from another country where it takes about 10 years. And a year ago, she said, oh, I'm ready to file for my sister. I'm like, okay. and then she said, how long is it taking now? I was like, well, when I told you then it was taking 7 years, it's now taking 10. And that happens a lot, when you think, oh my gosh, I'm not filing that. That's going to take too long. What are you going to do in the meantime? The time is going to go. You might as well file it, right? So, unfortunately, her sister's from a country that really bad stuff is going on there right now, and her sister could have been here by now. And so, for Filipinos, 20 years, my dad knows. He knows how long it takes to petition for a sibling. He knows how long it takes for family members to come to the United States. But eventually, it does happen. We have a very big, vibrant Filipino. My cousins, my aunts, my uncles, they're all there, and it does eventually happen. So file that petition.
That's right. Yeah, set it and forget it. File it and just move on. Radlin's mom, when we were first married, she bought us an appliance that was a rotisserie. You put chickens and stuff on it, and its slogan was "Set it and forget it." You just put it on there, start the rotisserie, and then go do whatever else you want to do. And when you came back 6 hours later, you had this fantastic rotisserie chicken. Same thing here. Move, do it, apply, get it filed, The clock is going to be ticking whether you filed it or not. So make sure that you do it. And I have the caution again, make sure you consult with somebody, an immigration lawyer, to make sure that what you're doing is the right thing, because accruing all the time in the world isn't going to help if you have filed the wrong stuff in the wrong way, okay?
All right, guys, any questions that have cropped up? Yes.
For my case, well, that's hoping it's okay. Might have a lot of guys. On the use of my. For my case, I'm an already, and do I have to ask permission for my kids to be, for my petition for my kids, for example? I have 4 kids, and do I have the approval from my ex-husband?
So you're saying your ex-husband has filed a petition for your 4 children, is that correct?
No. For example, I'm already immigrant to the US, and
Okay, you're a lawful permanent resident, green card holder?
yes,
Okay.
for example, and how about for my kids, I need an approval from my ex-husband?
To file a petition for your children? No.
Yeah.
Forget about him. I think the question is, I'm a lawful permanent resident in the United States. Sounds like now divorced from the spouse who petitioned for you. Is that correct? And the question is, do I need any type of permission from my spouse to petition for my children who are here in the United States? And the answer is no.
All right, I'm going to bump out of here because everyone's saying here that our signal is bad.
Okay. So hold on a second. Before you go, thank you guys so much to TikTok for being there. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the heart. Thanks for the diamonds. And thanks for the support. If you
Yes,
haven't
absolutely.
followed us yet and you're watching this live stream, we do come live every Wednesday night. And from, let's see, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you haven't already done so, please follow the page so you can see videos.
Yeah.
We'll be posting more information. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you guys so
joining
much.
us.
Yes, ma'am.
Granting, I have a multiple visa going to the States. At this point, is vaccination really needed to be there for me to get in?
I am not up to date on the vaccination rules for the tourist visa. I don't know. I know that with lawful permanent residents, if you're applying for an immigrant visa, vaccination is required unless you fall under one of the limited exceptions to that. As a tourist, I'm not sure. Yes, do you know the answer to that? No, you don't. Yeah.
Just had one question with regards to my kids.
Sure.
How many, just unexpected, how many months approval for that to start?
How old are your kids?
Now they're 12, 10, 8 years old.
12, 10, and 8. So we have a lawful permanent resident filing for their unmarried children under the age of 21. And let's see here. So basically what you do is you file an I-130 for each of your children. You have to file one for each, okay? And the longest time frame, if your case goes to the Vermont Service Center, it's taking 30 months for United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, to approve those petitions, 30 months. The shortest is Nebraska Service Center, it's 10 and a half months. So what that process looks like is you will file your I-130s, I-130 petitions. They will go to whatever service center they go to. Once you file, you will receive a receipt notice for each one of the cases that you filed. And then you just have to wait, right? Let's just say 30 months. which is, over 2 years, right? Once they get approved by USCIS and a visa is available, currently that category, in the visa bulletin that I just talked about a little bit, it is current right now, October of 2022, for the F2A category, which is where your children will fall under the unmarried children under the age of 21 of a lawful permanent resident. So it will then go to the National Visa Center if a visa is available in 2.5 years, hopefully that it is. At the National Visa Center, you have to create an account and you have to upload all of their documents to the NVC. The NVC can take processing. Right now, it's current, it's about 12 weeks until they process that. Until they say that, hey, we have received all the documents required for your case for an interview. You might see the, they call it documentarily qualified or DQ'd. And then once a immigrant visa interview is available, then it will be sent to the US Embassy in Manila. And then that processing will begin. The children will have to get their medicals and then they'll have to appear for their interviews. Right now, there is a massive backlog for interviews. Have you guys heard about the massive backlog for interviews for immigrant visas? It's over 400,000 worldwide. It's not just in Manila, thank God. But so sometimes our clients can wait a year for an interview. They're waiting for their spouse a year before an interview is available for them, which is really a shame. It's too long. I'm not even going to talk about what it used to be, the timing that it used to be prior to the pandemic, because it was a lot faster. It's very, very long right now. So if you haven't filed those petitions, please file the petitions. The way that USCIS processes these petitions is typically first in, first out. That's not always going to be the case, but that is their general rule, first in, first out. Now, with regard to, there's not tons of immigration updates, but they're trying to process all forms within 6 months. That's their goal for the next year, is USCIS trying to process all forms within 6 months. So I'm not going to laugh about that. I'm just going to present the information that I was told. We're not sure that's going to happen.
Not at all.
Processing times have definitely decreased within the past, I would even say 6 months. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Any other questions?
That's it? Okay.
We did, yes.
I just remembered something. My sister was a retired USRN. I remember, I don't know what happened. I remember that when she takes her oath, I think in 2009, she was there in 1987. I think 1994. Because she was there in 1987. In 1994, she became a U.S. citizen. She takes her oath. She told us that she filed a petition. I think including my name. I was married at the time. I was already married at the time. I don't know what happened. Maybe she did not follow up on the documents. I think there should be a lawyer, right, for the petition. When she went to a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, my mother became an immigrant, a U.S. immigrant, but maybe because she really followed up or the petition. But for us, I guess me and my older sister, she did not. Even if she gave some documents to the lawyer, along the way, there has to be some documents and papers to be submitted to complete the. I think she didn't do that. So in that case, maybe the lawyer that she hired was not able to really submit our names to the immigration, I guess.
So that was in 1994?
I think so. Just I remember because she couldn't remember anymore. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So maybe should not. I mean,
I think she did not complete the document, so it was not really pushed through, right?
Gotcha. So the question is, you believe a petition was filed in 1994 by your sibling, and you're not really sure what happened to that petition. And since nothing happened, you're wondering whether it just didn't go on to the next step,
Yeah.
like what we were talking about. So that is possible. When someone hires us to do a process for a sibling, and I mean, I don't know about your sister's immigration attorney.
Yeah, because my mother eventually became an immigrant, but for us, she didn't
Right,
manage to-
right. When someone hires us and hires us to help them to file for their sibling, and it's going to take 10 or 20 years, the service is to file the petition until and monitor that petition until it gets approved. And sometimes that petition can get approved in 3 or 4 years, but typically the service is not going to continue until visa availability, because again, that's a different service, and it's not something that, we just try to make it clear to our clients, like, we're not going to call you in 20 years when your sister's visa is available. That is going to fall on you. That is still your responsibility. So, if the attorney signed up to do both processes, yeah, it would be their responsibility to make sure that once your visa became available, that they followed through with it. But, I'm not sure. It's hard to tell what exactly happened there. But if one was actually filed in 1994, that's a missed opportunity, unfortunately. So I'm glad that your daughter is petitioning for you when the time comes. No more missed opportunities, right? All right. Any other questions? Okay, we have gone for an hour and 22 minutes. Usually we go for an hour. So thank you guys all for the wonderful questions. If you don't have any other questions, then we are going to end our live stream and the presentation.
Yes. And thank you again for coming, and big thanks to everybody who organized this and put it together. Really, really appreciate it. Great job.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And one last reminder, what we do here is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not legal advice, all right? Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Miss Lovely. How are you? Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Live stream Facebook, thank you so much for your patience.
We'll see
We
you
got
guys.
we got your questions next week,
We'll
okay?
see you next week, same time. 2 thumbs
Two
up.
thumbs up.
Right?
Lakeisha.
Mary Jan, can we have a good picture?
Absolutely.